Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Today we're going to be talking about buying animals from pet stores, more specifically reptiles, even more than that, geckos, because that's what I'm into. And I just wanted to give you guys some information here on some stuff that's happened to me, so you guys can make a decision on whether or not buying a pet store animal is for you or not. Something to also be mentioned is that all the geckos in the background of this video are actually geckos I've gotten from pet stores, so you guys can kind of see some of the nicer things that I've gotten from pet stores here in the last year or so. But I also wanted to give you guys some news on some things that have happened to me buying from pet stores. So before we get into this, I'm not trying to bash any pet stores or anything. I've had quite a few good experiences buying from pet stores. I'm just giving you guys my story here. And also, just because I'm talking about the bad things buying from pet stores, that doesn't mean that buying online can be any better. I'm sure a lot of you guys know what happened to me last year buying from a specific Canadian breeder. And that could be equally as bad, if not worse, than buying from a pet store. So, just because I'm saying pet stores are maybe not the best place to look, some of the breeders aren't the best place to look either. You just got to do your research. It's basically what it comes down to on where you're going to buy from. But I thought I would share with my story here today. So one of the things that most people are probably going to buy a reptile from a pet store for is the price. A lot of the time it's cheaper to go down to your local Petco and buy a gecko from there than it is to buy one online. But you guys, if you didn't know, Pangea does a deal where you can get $50 babies shipped to your house for $90. Tiki's Geckos does about the same thing, except it's going to be about 95, 100 maybe. So, for the average gecko at a pet store being $40 to $80, for an extra $10 to $20, you can get one shipped to your house that's going to be of much higher quality, just because most pet stores, if you didn't know, breed their reptiles in a large facility. They're just pumping out babies. They don't really care about the quality of the animal, and this can lead to some problems down the road like I'm going to talk about here in just a minute. So, if you're thinking about the price of your animal and the quality of your animal, breeders are pretty much always the way to go. Someone who's doing it for a living or for a side hobby, or they have a company breeding these kind of animals specifically, their quality is probably going to be much higher than someone who like Petco, who is just trying to pump out as many babies as they can, as quickly as they can, just so that they can turn a quick profit. So, that's something to think about. If you're thinking that it's going to be a lot more expensive to buy online, it might not be, depending on where you live, especially if you live somewhere where one of these breeders lives. You can probably get them super cheap. Another thing is some people might just not be able to, buy online and stuff like that, and that's okay. On one side of the things, I think buying from pet stores can actually be good. I've gotten some pretty good deals on geckos, as you guys probably know, because I've never really said anything bad about pet stores. I've had a lot of good experiences, actually. My local pet store does pretty good care of their animals, their reptiles too, and I actually got one of my favorite geckos from there, Sunset. You guys may know what he looks like. He's an orange and black spotted gecko. Yeah, he's just pretty cool, and I got a good deal on him. So that's nice. And like Cherry, who's a nice red. I got him from a pet store that's about 3 hours away. They do really good care of their reptiles there too. So, sometimes pet stores aren't always bad. If they have healthy animals in general, they take good care of them. I don't feel bad from buying from pet stores. Some people might shame me for that, but buying from pet stores isn't always bad. And you can have some really good geckos come out of those pet stores. However, on the other side of things, you have the bad experiences, and that's something you guys probably haven't heard from me before. But if you didn't know, story time here. About 4 to 5 years, well, it's 5 years ago now, but on my 14th birthday, I was going to buy 2 geckos, right? And I bought them online. Everything was pretty good. And, I like this breeder. I have nothing against them. You guys, I'm not going to say who it is, but basically this breeder, I bought a gecko from him. I bought one female and I got another gecko for free because it was deformed. And the gecko that I actually bought was $80, and it was a big female, and over the course of me having her for probably a year or two, I could never pick her up. I tried to work with her so much, and she just would not let me hold her. So that was not a good experience into my first gecko buying experience ever online, because I could never hold this gecko, and it was from an online breeder too. And just because you buy from an online breeder doesn't mean that it's going to be necessarily better. But the gecko was healthy and everything like that. I just couldn't hold it. So then, I thought maybe I wouldn't do that again, because I was also 14 at the time and I didn't have a lot of money to spend on reptiles. So I bought from the Petco 50% off sale, because geckos were 50% off. So that means leopard geckos were $15 a piece, which is pretty cheap. So I went and bought 2. Now at this time, I did everything I thought correctly. Maybe I was doing something wrong, but all the geckos lived in their individual 10-gallon enclosures with their moist hide, their normal hide, their heat pad, their water, their mealworms, paper towel. The geckos I bought from Petco were living the good life anyway. And now one of these geckos that I had bought, because I bought 2 of them at this time, and this was probably in the fall, I bought 2 of them, and I believe it was October actually. By the time spring came around, one of these geckos was just growing, and then just up and died on me. Like, just straight up just died. Like, just died. Like, I have no clue what happened with it. I don't think it had MBD, metabolic bone disease. I just think it just died on me, being a low quality animal or a lower quality animal. I just think maybe it had problems and just died. Like, I don't think it could have got impacted on anything living on paper towel, and the only thing it can fit in its mouth is mealworms. So, it's interesting to see why that would have happened. Who knows, though? Maybe I was doing something wrong at the time. However, my other geckos were thriving. So, I didn't really see a problem with that. And then, like, earlier in the spring, they had another 50% off sale, maybe around, like, April or something. And I went and bought 2 more geckos, 2 baby ones. And one of them was a blizzard morph, I believe. It's like the all-white ones. Anyway, it looked like raw chicken. It was pretty cool. But it was $15, right? Now, that might seem too good to be true because any of those white geckos, if you bought them online, definitely are not going to be $15 plus shipping. So, maybe I screwed myself from the beginning here. But this gecko just seemed to have problems like a couple weeks after I bought it. And within 2 months, it was dead for sure. And I doubt that one had MBD either. I just assume that it's being a low-quality Petco gecko that it just up and died on me. And these are things you should be aware of when buying a gecko from a pet store, that it just may die on you. That being said, I haven't had any crusted geckos die on me yet, knock on wood. Buying from a pet store, generally just means they're going to be getting a lower quality animal, lower quality care that they've been in before you got them. So, you don't really know what was happening before. And it's just, you should expect that it may die on you. That being said, a gecko you buy from a breeder could just one day die on you. King, who I bought from Pangea Reptiles, just might die one day. Who knows? You can't really control that stuff. But, to have 2 geckos die like that with me not doing anything wrong, in my opinion, and within the span of a year is just a little sad, and it's a little sketchy. And I haven't bought any leopard geckos from Petco since then. Obviously not. And I bought them from an online breeder now that I have 2 more. So, that's just something to be aware of. Not all the experiences I've had buying from pet stores are all wonderful rainbows and sprinkles. However, buying from breeders can be sometimes bad too. With that gecko I couldn't handle, that really sucked. And, with everything that happened last year, buying crested geckos online was not fun either. So, it's really a kind of a mix-up of what you want to do here. I would just do your research and decide what you want to do. However, I would recommend that looking towards a professional breeder online is probably the better way to go. That being said, some of the pet stores do have some nice stuff. Anyway, hopefully this helped you out a little bit. If not, hopefully it was an interesting story. Anyway, thank you guys so much for all the likes on my videos. I really appreciate it. Also, thank you to everyone who's been following me on Instagram. Since I first put my little thing popping up in the video, I've gained more than 100 followers over there. That's nice. I know I've liked posting my gecko pictures over there, and it's nice to see other people are following me. So thank you guys for that. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video.